Coming from these Philly streets, walking to my own beat, telling noisemakers I won't compete, cause I know I'm gonna be a beast. I go hard for what I want, I go hard for what I need. Travel.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, everyone. Good evening. Hello, hello, hello. Getting connected, getting connected. Hello, everyone, and happy Winning Wednesday, and welcome to another episode of The Face Behind the Brand, where I talk to entrepreneurs that use their passion for success and change the game. I am your host, Denise Murray, but before I introduce my guest of the day, I need you all to do me a favor. And if you're on Instagram or LinkedIn, what I've been doing for so long on Instagram or LinkedIn, guess what, y'all? I am back on Facebook. Yay! I'm so excited. Finally got my Facebook back. So I am now bringing this to Facebook as well. So if you're on here, just go ahead and put your city and state where you tune it in from so we can know where you're at. Now it's time to bring the noise. I have a mother of three, wife, financial advisor, a Georgia peach. I want to go ahead and introduce her and bring her up for all of y'all to see this beautiful lady, DeAndrea Linton. Are you there? Hey.
Hey, how are you guys? Hello, social media world.
Hello, and thank you for coming on with me tonight. I appreciate you taking your time out so much to give us so much of your good wisdom.
Absolutely.
So before we get started, I like to just start us everybody off with giving us a little bit about your childhood and your early experiences that in your case that shaped you into getting into financials.
All right, so I am, like she said, I'm a Georgia peach, originally from Georgia, but grew up in Gwinnett County. So, everybody's like, I'm on the north side. I am the oldest of my mother's children. So we do have a blended family. I'm one of seven, which I think shapes anybody because I've always had to share. I always have to take care of my younger siblings. So it kind of just shaped me into being a very much so type A personality. Don't take no crap. Want to get it done, get things moving. Actually, I had my first child at 19. So fast forward, as I was saying earlier, I was actually blessed to grow up in a big family. I did grow up in a big family. When I was born, I had 9 grandparents. So that's just how many generations. So you can look at it two ways. Either, we have longevity in life or we just start very early. So with that being all said and done, I got the blessing of seeing all grandparents and getting all that love to within the last 5 years, just as seeing everybody kind of just dwindle down to now our generation. So yes, I did come from 2 parents. My parents are still married at 30 years. So that's why marriage is something big to me. Family is still very big to me because that's what I grew up in. But yeah, that's a little bit about my childhood. I grew up with 2 parents. We weren't wealthy. We weren't rich. I won't say we were poor, but we were not rich. Being the oldest, thank God I didn't have to get hand-me-downs, but I can't say the same. Well, I'm joking because I had a brother. So my brother and me and my sister, ironically, of the story of our siblings, I'm my mother's first child. Me and my youngest sibling are 23 years apart. And yes, my mother's still married to the same man. So me and my sister are 10 years apart. Me and my brother are 20 years apart. So we grew up together, but it's such a different dynamic because my sister is younger than her niece. So yeah, it's a crazy dynamic. So I always tell people what pushed me into this kind of thing is just how I grew up with love, and that's something I want to share. Grew up big in the community, and like I said, married with beautiful children. Come from 2 parents, been married like I said, 30 years. I think we had 30 years now.
That's awesome. That is so amazing. I love to hear when people are together for that longevity because you don't hear that. So many people, they can be together for years and as soon as they get married, they divorce. So it's so good to have people really stick and stay. So the last general question that I'm going to kind of ask you is how do you stay informed with the latest trends when it comes to the financial industry?
So thankfully, I have so many great resources. With Morningstar being one of my resources of keeping a trends, I try to simplify finances. As I tell people as kids, keep it simple, silly. I don't do all the big talk, but I get my information from Morningstar, from the leading financial consultants, by Money Watch. I feel like it's very big, even before getting into the financial industry. I watched the news and nothing ever interests me until they started talking about money. And I always would hear, GPD. I will always hear that. And I'm like, what in the world is that? And then I did take economics in school, but let's just be real, C's get degrees. So at the end of the day, it was just something I was looking to. But what interests me the most was when the pandemic hit and watching GameStop stock. I was like, yo, I really need to learn about this. Like, it doesn't make sense to me how I grew up in a city where me and my counterparts, we live in the same neighborhood. Our parents kind of work in the same industries, but you got college completely paid for, or you got a brand new car on your 16th birthday, and we over here struggling to make sure the lights stay on. Like, something's not correlating. So for that reason, I was like, I need to really learn how money works. Like, I just didn't believe we were just made to be poor or just to work all our life and die. That concept to me did not make sense. So as time went on, I definitely started to just keep watching Money Watch, and I would watch it on the news, and then I was watching GameStop, and then I started just watching a whole bunch of documentaries on money and learning how the Federal Reserve work, the interest rates, when to buy stock, how to buy stock on discount, understand about mutual funds, Roth IRAs, trust funds, RET real estate. It just became interesting to me because the one thing I felt was very big is like, when you see people married, again, I grew up with a couple that's married, like a married couple. It ain't always been perfect. You could tell when there's tension because of money problems, right? You can tell when there's tension because there's not enough money, or, seeing my mom be at a job for over 15 years and they laid her off. The same job that made her miss coming to lunches or miss coming to dance recitals or miss coming to things because she gave them their all, but gave, the job her all, but then they just let her go, not knowing how many times she had to tell her children no to show up for them. So I think seeing that for so many years, it was just like, yeah, I'm not going to do the same when it comes to my kids. I gotta do something different.
Yeah, that's so serious, because I know that was what got me into even wanting to do entrepreneurship, period. Because missing, not being able to, go to different events. When I used to have to get my neighbor to go to my daughter's award ceremonies because I couldn't get off the go and different things. So trust me, I know taking your time, that time, you can't get that back at all.
Absolutely. Even for my first career choice wasn't even in finances. It was actually nursing. So I had my first child at 19, started in pharmacy tech. I had no desire to be a pharmacist, none against any pharmacist. I just didn't have the desire to do it. So my goal was always to go into nursing, to go into a nurse practitioner, because I always wanted to open up a women's clinic, because women's health was so important to me. Because I had a grandmother die at 43 from cervical cancer, and then now keep going forward, my aunt passed away from breast cancer. So women health was something that I felt like we needed to talk about, because in our community, we don't get treated properly, or they diagnose us too late, or they ignore it, or we have the most fibroids, we have the most irregular periods, we have the most miscarriages, and we're just not educated on what we need to have, nor do we get the healthcare that we need to get. So that was a lot of my goal of even going into nursing. But I tell people all the time, like, when you start something, life is life then. So I saw myself getting stuck there, like just getting stuck, because I had my daughter at 19. I'm working, I'm going to school. I'm finally at a point, I'm making money. Like, I'm making money. I'm able to pay my bills. I'm not struggling. I'm making some money. And this is before the pandemic hit. And I was just like, yo, I don't really, I looked at you get to this crossroad in life. Like, do I want to go back to school to make more money, or do I just stay here and be comfortable, or do I just want to do something different, period? And so during that time period, I ended up getting pregnant with my second child, and nursing did not look appealing to me anymore. I don't know if it was hormones or it just did not look appealing to me. I fell in love with the thought of just being a stay-at-home mom. I was like, I just want to stay at home and I want to love on this baby. My daughter, her inside joke is it's because it's a boy. It had nothing to do with that. It was where I was in life. And so, long story short, I did not care to be a stay-at-home mom. It wasn't my calling as well. It wasn't. But I wanted flexibility. And I was like, I don't want to go commit to another job. I want to work when I want to work. I want to work on my terms. What skill can I develop to give me a chance to work on my terms, be home with my children, but still be a boss chick, right? And it was talking about money, because everybody wanted to talk about money. Everybody wanted to figure out, what can I do to make my money grow? How can what direction can I go? Man, show me how to do what you do. I need to make some money. Like, that was the conversation. And so that's kind of really what just pushed me into entrepreneurship. It was the flexibility of being a mom, but being a boss. I mean, in school, how they do the career things? Mine was always something in administrator. What was it? It was like a principal of the school, a CEO. It was always something with a boss thing on it. I was like, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I'm bossy. I'm accepting. So let me find something that works for me, right? So
right.
That I get to boss people about their finances. Like, yo, bro, you can't be spending that money. No, you said you wanted this for retirement. No, you can't have it. So I think that's pretty much why I enjoy doing what I do, though.
That's good. Now, what do you think is the most important quality in a financial advisor-client relationship?
Confidentiality, and trust. I mean, I feel like they go hand in hand together. The reason is, talking about your finances and how much you make a year, your paycheck, and what you spend your money on, is not an everyday conversation people have. Like, sometimes you even talking to somebody, be like, oh, how much you make a year? Like, I could sit down with a client. I am a financial advisor. I got to know what's going on. Like, how much you make a year? Oh, around about 120. And then I put these numbers together and I'm like, yeah, you're like round about 160. Like, talk about the money here, right?
Right.
So, a lot of times it's such an uncomfortable conversation. So you have to build that trust, but also they have to know that there's confidentiality. Like, their business is not going to be out there. Their cousins, their neighbors, they're not going to know what they have going on, because it is considered very sacred. It's a very private. I don't want you to, because, if I say no to you, I shouldn't feel bad about saying no, because it's my money. I work for it. And I feel like we got to get completely comfortable with that attitude. But then we got to be comfortable enough to talk to somebody to tell us what to do with our money, because we have truly been brainwashed. Like, we're taught to, go to school, get a good job, put your money in the bank. Like, that's what we've been taught. And many of us do that, but we're upset when we're living paycheck to paycheck. We're upset when we're close to retirement. We don't have enough money. We're upset when we're trying to take care of our elderly parents, take care of our children, and take care of the bills in our house. And we just wonder why the whole dollar ain't stretching. And this, at the end of the day, a lot of people just fail to plan. That's just really what it boils down to. And so one of the things I have to build with my clients is I have to let the guards down. And a lot of times, it's just thinking about myself. I knew nothing about money. Fortunately, I was always in a position where I made really good money. The inside joke of it is, I was 24 years old, making like $43,000 a year. And I blew it. Like, and people say, you were 24 years old making that kind of money. Yeah, I was making that kind of money, and I had not a dollar to show for it, but my daughter had every shoe there was there, every shoe that was there. My apartment was paid. I had a car. I didn't know nothing about interest rate. I just knew it was what I wanted, and it was cute, and I was going to get it. Didn't care about mileage. Didn't know about depreciation. Didn't know about none of that. Then got hooded with income taxes coming in. Like, it was. I just didn't know about money. And the thing about it is, I don't get mad at anybody about it. Like, I don't get mad at myself about it, because it was a life lesson. Because when I decided that I had to quit this job, because I felt like I needed to reach my goals of when I was completing school. So now my income has changed, my life habits did not change. So now I found myself robbing Peter to pay Paul. So a lot of times I tell people the confidentiality. When I sat with somebody, I had to be open. I was like, yo, I'm broke, but I don't have a broke mindset. I want to know how to use my money better. I want to know what I need to do because these things weren't taught in my household. Like we have an allowance in our household. You were allowed to breathe, okay? You were allowed to eat. You were allowed to open that refrigerator. There was food in there. Like we didn't have allowance. So how am I going to know how to spend money? It just wasn't that. It wasn't. And then we grew up in a house. We didn't talk about money. If I would go up to my mom and be like, "Mommy, how much you made?" She'd be like, "Ain't none of your darn business how much I made. That's what your son." It's not a conversation, right? Not even like credit. And I don't ever fault or get upset or blame anybody about that. I just really think it's our culture. It's just we don't talk about money because we're told not to talk about money. And then when we feel like we finally arrived, we weren't taught about what to do when we finally arrived. Like, yes, you're at 6 figures. Did you know how to manage the 6 figures? Are you a steward or are you managing your money right? Are you talking to somebody about managing money? And some people feel like I shouldn't have to pay somebody to tell me how to manage my money. Don't you pay a personal trainer to help you get in shape? So you gotta pay a financial advisor to give you financial advice. Like we gotta lose, take away the concepts of it. So I think that what goes into what I do in a sense, but I think everybody needs to have a business and a hustle. But what happened with my opportunities, I happened to get into business with people who were willing to mentor me. And as they're mentoring me and I'm shaping me and I'm growing, a lot of stuff is hand in hand. And because of that reason of things being hand in hand and being shaped and having the mentors in business, I think that's really how I've had success and my business have grown. So I always tell people all the time, if I didn't have that, I don't know where I would be at. I don't know how well this would have lasted. I don't know how it would have gone. But because I had that, my business was able to grow.
That's good. Now, can you share a success story that you made with one of your client situations?
Oh, goodness. Because I work in financial services, I do provide different finances. And one of the top products everybody knows is life insurance. You got to secure that income because if anything ever happens. So, when you first get into business, your guinea pigs happen to be your family and friends. I don't care what nobody says. You gotta start there, okay? If anybody tells you otherwise, that's wrong, okay? Because your family and friends are going to let you mess up and support them. But see, this particular friend, I actually did something right. So it was one of my childhood friends. She's more like a cousin to me. And I had needed, trying to get numbers. I was like, hey, yo, cuz I need you to get a life insurance policy. She gets a life insurance policy. And she goes, well, I need to insure my child's father. I said, all right, cool. Let's give him a call. So we give him a call, get him insured. 4 years go by. Me and her, we still talk. We see each other, whatever the case, but I never really ever see him. I knew that they had separated or whatever. So anyways, fast forward, he actually passes away. She gives me a call and she says, yo, Gabby, can you check to see if I still have insurance on him? I said, yeah. I said, but he's attached to your policy. Your policy is active. And at that moment, I really did feel like out of 7 years of doing this, I did something right. Because her children are like my children. That they call me Gabby. They're my children, right? And I never replaced their father. But struggle that she would have had to go through is not a struggle anymore. And then to be in the position to where, because I'm investment licensed, to set up something for her sons in the future, and they have that because of their father, I think is a true success story. And I really think that sometimes life insurance is our product. It is our bread and butter. It is something that our community has to be educated and understand that you need more than enough life insurance to bury you. And I don't want to go into different types and all of that of life insurance, because life insurance is like it is real. What I want to talk about when it comes to life insurance is understanding the importance of having it, why you need to get it while you're young, why you need to make sure that you understand the purpose of it. Because see, the thing about it is none of us know when our time is coming.
Right.
And our families are usually left with that burden. And nothing's worse than grieving broke. There's nothing worse than that. I think that's the worst feeling you could ever do for your family, is leave them to grieve broke.
Right.
So recently I help families, and even though our insurance company is a big insurance company, there's people in the industry that do it for the money. Just like I tell people, I come from healthcare. There's nurses that do it for the money, right? So i.e. me, I did it for the money. Don't mean I don't care about the patients. Don't mean you're gonna die on my watch, because I don't want that kind of conscience. But some people just do it for the money and not for the care of the client. And so one particular policy, I was talking to the client, I happened to look at it, and the children only had 10,000 on them. And I said, all your children are over the age of 12, which means that they're an adult. You know, like the funeral home don't have children prices. It's adult prices. You know, the casket ain't made for a 12-year-old. I said, so when it's all said and done, if something happens to your children today, do you think 10,000 is enough to bury them, or B, is 10,000 enough for you to grieve your child 6 or 7 months? Because do you think if you lose your child, you'll be able to go back to work right away? And they looked at me and they said, you know, I never thought about it like that. I said, right, look at the dollar amount it's going to cost each month instead of the value of it, right?
Right.
Fortunately, it was in the news. Her child was shot in the head recently.
Oh my God.
And the only thing she can think about is that conversation we had, because since finding out that news, she has not been able to have the strength to get up and go to work. Her bills ain't stopping though. Wow. Since that conversation, she's not having a worry of putting her son's funeral together. But if we didn't have that conversation and this incident would have happened, what would have been $10,000?
Right.
So I always tell people, when people say my success story with clients, the success story is unfortunately always when I have to bring the death claim. But I always think to myself, what if I never had that conversation with them? What if I never showed them the value of what they need to have? Where would they be at? And the personal side of it is that I wish 40-something odd years ago, somebody had that conversation with my grandmother, because she passed away unexpectedly at 43 and left behind 2 minors. And my mother, again, the irony of the situation, I'm the oldest, and me and my sister are 23 years apart. Well, my mom and her younger sister are almost 19 years apart. So when something happened to their mother, their big sister took them in with no life insurance. That was so stressful, because you have to imagine she's already living paycheck to paycheck trying to take care of her 2 children. She's pregnant with her 3rd child. She just lost her mother, which is, you know, imagine losing your mother, and now she has to take on her 2 siblings that technically, like I said, the dynamics are different. It's not like me and my brother who grew up in the house together. Right. You know, her siblings are friends with her kids. Her siblings are not going to come talk to her about a boyfriend. They're going to go talk to her daughter about it, because of the dynamics of the relationship. And I wish somebody would have either just showed my grandmother the value, even if it was $30 a month. It would have been something to help. And so I think a lot of times people say, what shapes you when you're younger to make you grow? You never know what your calling is. Right. When I decided to go into nursing, it was because of my grandmother. Her passing away at 43, I just couldn't understand, how does a healthy 43-year-old jumping around? My grandmother used to go outside and play with us, pick us up. Like, how could somebody that young just die instantly, right? That's something that had bothered me since being 10 years old. And I always said, if I can do anything, I'm gonna cure cancer. To, as I got older and seeing, dang, how my mom do it? How my mom take care of 5 kids off of 1 paycheck? How do this, right? To understanding that, yeah, this might be my calling, because it is a passion. After working in healthcare, a lot of people don't understand that a lot of decisions are made on people's pocket, not their heart. When a loved one is sitting there, the first question they're asking is, how much is this going to cost? That's their first question. Sometimes I feel like families need to have the question, no, you know, the statement needs to matter. No more, no problem, the cost. What are y'all going to do to fix it? See, that the question because a lot of times we don't have those resources or those finances.
Mm-hmm.
So I always said that I want to be the one in my family to change that.
Yeah. Now, how do you approach clients that hesitate or anxious about getting any kind of like financial with life insurance and different things?
You got to break the ice. I think that a lot of people think like financial services or selling life insurance or talking about like it's a bam bam thank you ma'am, like a one night stand, and you gotta date people. You know, like you gotta date people. You can't sit there and pull out your checkbook for me, write a check now today. You like you can't. That's not how it works. So I truly believe in breaking the ice with my clients. Sometimes we have 3 or 4 appointments before any business is exchanged because I need you to feel comfortable. A lot of times, you know, we got clients that be in denial. They be in denial. I'm like, your river is very thin. It's very thin, right? We gotta fix it, right? So, how do I deal with the difficult clients that are hesitant? I do my best to build relationships. I try to be as transparent as possible. I think that is a big part, is being transparent. But I don't try to be evasive either, because if you per se, you may not want your services from me. Maybe I can give you this information and you want to go follow up with your cousin that you trusted a long time. I don't ever get offended by that. And I think that's the difference in this service industry. I'm here to give you a service. You may not like, I don't go to everybody to get my hair done. I may not like everybody who do my hair, but I go to my person because I like what they do to my hair, right? So I feel like, because I understand that in business, I'm never evasive. Like a client that's like that with me, you're just not my client, and that's okay. But if you have questions or concerns, I love you as a neighbor enough to answer them. So if you want to go back and report it or take it back to your person, no problem. But I want to make sure you're good. I want to make sure you at least got the information you needed. So I think it's all about perspective. Like I can't service everybody. I mean, I can. But if you come my way, I'm going to do my best to help you. That's just how I look at it.
That's good. Now, what common investment mistakes do you see individuals making, and how do they avoid them?
Oh, goodness. So a lot of mistakes people make is eggs in one basket. A lot of people think that investing is a quick rich, sorry about to mix up my whole words, a quick get rich scheme. And that's not the case. Investing and building wealth takes time. And the best example I give people is, think about when you were a child, what movies were out. You know, I'm a 90s baby, right? And we had Milan, we had The Lion King, we had The Bug's Life. Those same movies today are just being remade for our kids, right? But think about the companies who own those movies. Disney has the capital to constantly get rich over and over and over again because they have longevity. They've been here longer. Some people, you know, like everybody's like, Amazon can take out Walmart. It's not going to happen. But Amazon has challenged Walmart. And what I mean by that is, whoever thought that Walmart would be delivering your grocery, right? Amazon has challenged Walmart to step up their game, which is what was going to happen. But it is some people that's never going to feel comfortable having their stuff delivered to them. They're going to want to go to the store and they're going to want to check it out. And guess what? There's some people that's never going to be comfortable with self-checkout. And they're going to want to go to the store and they're going to want to see a person and they're going to want to write a check and they're going to want it to go through. Why do you think they haven't stopped saying write checks? It's just some people that are accustomed and comfortable, which means that those are the kind of things you want to invest in. Those are the things you got to get comfortable with, investing in things that may never change. Let me tell you something. I don't care how cars get to electric cars. I'm just old school. I need gas. I will be mad if I'm in the side of the road and with no electricity. Okay?
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Tell me a battery oh no. No. AAA can't bring me a battery. I'm just never gonna be comfortable with it, right? So oil is something that we're gonna always invest in. And so when I talk about investing with clients, I get them to look at the things that the comforts you have in life, right? how much money a month would you put to keep those comforts?
Right.
Invest in those things. So a lot of mistakes I feel people make is that they look at investment as a get rich quick scheme. Is how they look at investments instead of looking at it of the longevity. $1 today is $1 million tomorrow. And a lot of times we're tripping over pennies to get to $1 million because we're just not thinking about the future. We're thinking about the right now. So a lot of times when somebody can come and talk to you about a financial strategy, your financial situation is not the same as the next person. So not every financial strategy works the same. And I feel like that's another mistake that a lot of people make. They listen to podcasts, and that's great. Get educated in everything that you do. But your financial situation may not be the same as the person they're talking about on the podcast.
Right.
So you try to go do the same thing, and you're not going to yield the same results. And now you feel like this doesn't work at all. And that's not the case. Everybody's situation is unique. Everybody is different. It's weird. The whole wide world is different. We know this. So a lot of times when I am telling clients what their mistake is, you're under the assumption that this money should grow tomorrow. It's not. We got to think about how investing work. It's over time. If I had 2 elevators, right? And one elevator had one cable cord, one. But I had the second elevator that had 80 cable cords. Which elevator do you want to get on?
Right.
The one with the 80, right? Because if that one pop, I'm dying. So because of that reason, I tell people all the time, that's investing. You got to diversify. You got to be consistent. You gotta make sure you have some safety there, but there is a little bit of a risk. Getting on an elevator every day is a risk. You don't know if you're gonna get stuck. You don't know if a cable's gonna break. You don't know what's gonna happen. And there's gonna be some risk. There's no guarantees. So a lot of times it's education and investing that a lot of the clients make mistakes, assuming that their situation is the same as what they heard. Is a lot of mistakes that they make, and then not being willing to trust the process. There's a lot of mistakes that people make. It is a process. It's not overnight. And to piggyback off of that, as I talk to my clients all the time, today you can write me a check for $5,000 because you want to create you want to set up an investment and you just believe that it's gonna be $10,000 tomorrow. Great. But if you pass away, all I'm taking your family is a $5,000 check. But if you wrote me, say, a $1,200 check, which is your annual premium, and you passed away in that year's time, I'm taking your family, say, a $500,000 check. Which one would you want for your family?
Right.
So we got to understand, the instant estate is created with life insurance, but investment is for when we are living longer and when we're older and when we're passing, because it has to grow. When we're not working as hard. I mean, who really wants to work at 80 years old?
Right. That's so true. Someone asked, what can you speak on dividend and income?
Okay. So a lot of times dividends is when you have common stock, and that's where it comes from. Your bank gives you dividend. Dividends is usually a profits that's divided between all the shareholders. That is depending on if your money is sitting in a mutual fund, those dividends are reinvested for you. So as you take money out, your money is consistently growing because it's coming from multiple stocks, multiple companies. Your mutual fund can be in the top 500 top holders, top tech companies. So you're really not losing any money there. You're gaining a little bit. You're not losing anything. But yes, dividends are important because they do give you income. That is correct. And it comes from the profits of common stock.
Did that help you out, step girl? Okay, so I'm so the next okay. What is the best piece of financial advice for someone feeling overwhelmed by their financial situation?
So if you're feeling overwhelmed, the first thing to do is to stop and take a breath. A. B, the best thing for you to do is to see your habits in the last 90 days and bring those habits to a financial advisor. What does that look like? Usually when you're feeling overwhelmed, it's because you were robbing Peter to pay Paul, like I discussed to everybody else. But you got to see your spending habits, because see, what hasn't changed in the 90 days most likely is your income. If you're feeling overwhelmed and it's not because you lost a job or it's usually because somewhere in this pattern you've gotten off scale. Money ain't floating like it needs to be, and now you've gotten overwhelmed with either debt, or you've gotten overwhelmed with not being able to put enough money away, or unexpected things are happening and you are pulling from everywhere. So when you get overwhelmed, I tell people, stop, take a break, take a breath, pull your bank statements from the last 90 days, and highlight the needs and the not so necessary needs.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times too, I tell people, it does not matter if you cut off Netflix, if you stop eating out, like if your income is not matching inflation, now we got to come up with an idea of how we're going to increase the income. Because you're going to always have a problem. You're going to always feel that way. And I feel that we got to be honest and have that conversation. In the economy right now today, most Americans are feeling the inflation and their paycheck is just not enough. Now, I'm not telling anybody go quit their job and go find another job. No, we got to figure out how to increase that income. What can we do to increase that income? If you got to bake a couple pies and sell to make sure that you could take 20 and put into a savings, then that's what you need to do. But you got to increase the income. So we got to stop. We got to take a breath. We got to see what has changed in the last 90 days. What is changing? Are we bringing it? Okay, we're bringing in the same money. What's going out differently? Did the rent increase? Right. Did the groceries increase? Am I driving more? What am I doing? And what can I do to move forward? Now, increasing your income is usually the thing. And a lot of people don't want to hear it. It's like, I already work 60 hours a week. You telling me to do another thing for 20 hours? You telling me to go Uber Eat? You telling me to DoorDash? I'm tired, And it's not that. Then let's pivot. If you say that you work in the automotive business, can you go fix cars on the side? Can you find a couple cars as people looking? Can you get some cars, see some old cars in the city, go get them strapped? It's a lot you can do with your current situation to try to increase your income. Because a lot of times if you're feeling overwhelmed, it's because of the economy and the things that's going around you, because the one thing that ain't changed is your paycheck.
Right. Whew. You just hit that one. Now, how can clients prepare for potential economic downturns?
One, when you are high, you need to save. When you are low, you need to save. You got to be consistent. But one of the biggest things I talk to my clients about is making sure that you have an emergency fund. Now, emergency fund is not an account that's attached to your checking account. Why? Because you can go on your app real quick and transfer that money over. Right. It's too accessible, right? It's too accessible. I don't want to hear it. It's too accessible, right? So what you got to do is you need to put your money in a high yield savings account. Most financial advisors may not even recommend that to you for so many reasons. A lot of us don't get paid on it. But B, it's going to grow at a better rate than what it would in the bank. So, but you need to get that emergency fund up to at least 6 months of your income. I think a lot of times, the pandemic, I tell people, was a very unique situation. Even people who were good savers, had their money together, had great 401k plans, had great financial planning, saw it was affected by the pandemic, right? So just imagine the people who didn't have that, right? Which means that I'm saying we, including myself, right, had to learn how to do something better. Because even the people who have it together couldn't survive it, right? They couldn't survive it financially. A lot of them had to have mortgage assistance, rental assistance. The landlords wasn't being able to make money. It was crazy. So that period should have taught us one huge thing. We need to pay ourselves first and then worry about everything else. You got to put money away. And it starts with just $25. Then let it go to 50. Then let it go to 100. Then let it go to 150. Then let it go to 250 each pay period. Now you do 500 each pay period. Now you're saving a paycheck.
Right.
You will find yourself getting there with habits. And that's a lot of our issues. We just don't have good money habits. So as a financial advisor, at times I tell people, I can give you a whole formula and a whole entire plan and show you how to do debt stacking, show you how to make sure your insurance is good, make sure your investments is good. If you do this, this is what it will look like in 20 years. But it takes you as a client to really be committed to the process. And people will do good. They'll do it for 6 or 7 months. And then they fall off because, man, this is boring. This isn't good. But I tell people, God will bless your effort. He said, be a steward over your money. If I gave you the game plan, right? I told you to run the play and you don't do it. How are we going to expect different results? So a lot of times that's the issue that, people fall into, is just not being consistent with money. We got to be cool with, and a lot of times don't dive in head first. If you know you're a person who live paycheck to paycheck, meaning that you skate into your next paycheck with $2 in your account, do not think overnight you about to start saving $100. Do better. Save the $2, right? It's just not gonna, and we got to be realistic with ourselves. So it all starts with baby steps. So that's why I tell my clients, that's always the conversation I have, and I'm very blunt. And to be honest with you, a lot of times when people think of a financial advisor, think of somebody who's cost a whole lot of money, telling them about money that they don't have. And I'm not that. I rather work with my clients who are on the lower end, because it's going to be a day you need to have it. Your kids is asking for you to have it. If you don't get these habits together, you're just going to teach your kids. Because I just can't, I'm going to go into my little social justice, but I can't understand in 2024 why we still have projects. I don't understand it. We knew it wasn't good. We know we don't like them. Why we still have them, right? So that's just because it's still teaching the same habits over and over again. So like I said, a lot of the things that happen is just money habits. And a lot of the conversations I have with my clients is about money habits.
That's really good. I know people are like, you done gave some pointers out there, some tips out there. Now, just before we go, I want you to just give everybody a takeaway from what you just would love for everyone to take away from everything pretty much that you said, but just one great takeaway that everyone can have.
I think that we're going into 2025. I'm an entrepreneur. I have about 6 agents. I help people get licensed. I coach people to get licensed. I think it should be a financial advisor in every family. Truly, that's my personal goal. There needs to be a financial advisor in every family. I mean, it need to be women, because we handle the pocketbook all the time. The checkbook, right? But I say all of that to say, when we talk about, what is the takeaway? What do we need to learn from this? I really hope that you take the time to just reevaluate, what do you want your 2025 to look like financially? Because that's not going to happen January 1st. You got to start now, right? Your next 90-day game plan needs to be like, okay, in 2025, I'm going to purchase that home I've been talking about. In 2025, I'm going to pay off all that debt I was talking about. In 2025, them student loans are about to be gone, so I can breathe again. In 2025, I said I was going to do this business. I'm going to start putting this money away to start this business. It all starts right now. I tell people, we are 90 days into 2025, and all the excuses in the world is about to come up. It's about to be Halloween. It's about to be Thanksgiving. It's going to be Christmas. And then it's going to be the new year, right? What are you going to change differently about your finances? What's going to change differently? What do you want to change? And whatever you want to change, contact a person to get the help. I tell people, bad finances is like being a drunkard. You need AAA. We got financial help, right? So let's go. That is the biggest takeaway I can give. There's help out there. There's resources. There's tons of things to just help you get on the right track. And there's no stupid question.
Right.
Okay. I had a whole degree and I did not know how money worked. I mean, I didn't. I just thought you slide a bank card and that's it. I know how credit worked. What? Credit? What is that? A score? Tell me about it. There's never a stupid question. If you do not know, ask so somebody can educate you on it. And because unfortunately, the financial industry gets rich off of our ignorance. That's just what it boils down to. So I tell people, if you can't, the only way you can beat somebody at the game is learning the rules. So I learned the rules, and I'm just teaching everybody else.
Right. That's awesome. Now, can you let everybody know how they can reach out to you?
So I am, as I said, I'm in Lawrenceville, Georgia. My office is in downtown Lawrenceville. So you can always come in person. I do meet with people on Zoom. I have my hi, hello. I'll make sure I'll send it to Denise. So if she reposts this, you have my digital business card so you can reach out to me. My Instagram is at DiamondPreneur because guess what? I'm an April baby. So that is my account, right? And I'm her. So
Before you finish, I'm laughing because my sister's name is Diamond and her birthday is in April as well. That is too funny.
Yeah, I don't know how they name me Diamond, but anywho, I'll take it as my birthstone. So, but yes, you can follow me at Diamondpreneur. It's literally my personal page. You'll see my whole life. You'll see the kids and the husband and the dogs and all the great stuff because I'm very transparent. I'm not one of those people that's going to be on there because, like I said, I've given financial advice. It's customized. It need to be to your situation, not everybody else's. But yes, you can always get me on there. My Facebook is DeAndrea Linton. And you can look me up, find me. You know, if you want my phone number, I can put it out there. Don't spam me, but it's 678-551-0081. Call me, text me, saw you on live, and we'll chit chat. I'm here to help. And it was great, hanging out with you guys tonight.
Thank you so much, Ms. Linton. I really appreciate you. And if anyone came on late, no worries. Remember, I told y'all you can watch the full episode on YouTube. Remember to like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's UBELLC TV. UBELLC TV, so you don't miss out on none of these weekly tips and how to level up. Also, get some inspiration and some motivation along the way. And remember, whatever you want to do, as I always say, it's possible as long as you being your authentic self and being passionate about it. So again, thank you everybody for tuning in again for the face behind the brand. And I will see you all next week. And y'all have a fabulous winning Wednesday. Good night, everyone.
Good night.